I occasionally describe the Yoga Vasistha as being off message or on message. It's off message when it's clearly describing the romance of spirituality or the romance of yoga. And that's when notions about spirituality are taken as real. It's when we get caught up in ideas of higher states of consciousness, that we're travelling up through rarefied states of consciousness to some ultimate state. And that state is a state of bliss. And there are various practices that we do to cultivate these higher states of consciousness. We need to purify the mind. And there are techniques we can use like Pranayama, which is controlling the subtle life force energy. All this kind of stuff. When the Yoga Vasistha is on message, none of that comes into it. It's simply about realizing our own awareness. It's about being in touch with our own awareness. It's about realizing its nature. And in realizing its nature, then certain practices can become involved. But again, the main practice is what's called self-enquiry, which again is just observing our own awareness, being aware of our own awareness. And that is what is conducive to the thinning out of cravings and equanimity. There's no need for any yogic practices like pranayama or anything else, or regular meditation or any sort of religious practices. The Yoga Vasistha says this often enough, and that's when I think it's on message. It's on message. There can't really be any path to awareness. You're either aware or you're not. You're either aware of your own awareness or you're not. There's no path to it. It's like saying there's a path to being awake. You wake up and you go to sleep. There are certainly some groggy states in between, but there's no path. You either realize it or you don't. It either happens or it doesn't. So this next story is a case in point. This seems to me to be about self-enquiry, about realization, about awareness, about yoga and spirituality basically. Not about the romance of spirituality. Although the setting is quite evocative. Vasishta continued. Or, O Ram, bring about a transmutation of the mind, even as King Bali did. I shall narrate to you the story of Bali. Listening to which you will gain knowledge of the eternal truth. In another part of the world, Jagat, there is what is known as Patala, the netherworld. In it are found extremely beautiful demonesses, strange reptiles with many heads, demons with enormous bodies, huge elephants, places which are heavily polluted and where a terrible kata-kata noise constantly fills the air. Probably some kind of pneumatic drill. Caves or deep mines full of precious gems, places which have been hallowed or sanctified by the dust of the divine feet of the sage Kapila, and places sanctified by Lord Hatakeshvara, who is adored by celestial damsels. So we've got this place in the netherworld which seems to have not only demons and horrible noises and pollution, but also beautiful things, and even visited by great sages. And there's a peculiar note here to the effect that California is regarded by some to be Kapila Aranya, the forest inhabited by Kapila. Some pundits obviously come up with this theory. The demon king Bali, son of Virochana, ruled over this region. The Lord of the universe, Sri Hari himself, was the protector of this king. Hence, even the king of heaven, Indra, adored him. By the heat of the very radiance of this King Bali, the oceans got dried up, as it were. His eyes were so powerful that by a mere look he could move mountains. Bali ruled for a very long time over the netherworld. In course of time, intense dispassion overcame King Bali, and he began to inquire thus: "How long should I rule over this netherworld? How long shall I wander in the three worlds? What shall I gain by ruling over this kingdom? When all that is in the three worlds is subject to destruction, how can one hope to enjoy happiness through all this?" Again and again, the same disgusting pleasures are experienced, and the same acts are repeated day after day in this world. How is it that even a wise man is not ashamed of this? The same day and the same night, again and again, life in this world revolves like a whirlpool. So obviously, even though he's this intensely powerful demon king, living in this splendid world, the daily drudgery has got to him, and even the pleasures have lost their charm and have become quite disgusting. I suppose even when pleasures become repetitive, they become habitual, and therefore you become caught up in it, whereas your free will, you become a function of your own habits, and so a sense of disgust has set in. Doing all this every day, how can one reach that state in which there is cessation of this repetitive existence? How long should we continue to revolve in this whirlpool, and of what use is it? While he was thus reflecting, he remembered. I remember what my father Varochana once told me. I had asked him, "Father, what is the destination of this world appearance or repetitive existence? When will it come to an end? When will the delusion of the mind cease? Gaining what shall one attain total satisfaction? Seeing what shall one seek naught else? I see that it is impossible to attain this by means of experience of the worldly pleasures or actions, for they only aggravate the delusion. Pray tell me the means by which I shall rest forever in supreme peace." So the demon king Bali is fed up, but he knows there's a way out. He's heard of these teachings, and he asks his father Varochana for guidance.